what I'm doing here is I'm cutting the glass on a diagonal for two reasons. One reason is if you cut it straight it all falls apart because we're not using any frisk tape, and it's just too fiddly to frisk this little lot up as well. So we're cutting it on a diagonal so it doesn't all fall apart. Other reasons to use a diagonal is that it's going to be 45 degrees to the direction on average of the carbon, because that gives a lot of stiffness against twisting, or torsional rigidity you'd call it. And another reason to cut on a diagonal is you actually end up with a piece of mat that's very, very flexible, and you can persuade round corners because it can do this without falling apart too badly. So there's a number of reasons to cut on a diagonal.
So how many pieces are you using? Is that
so?
I've
got 8 pieces here. That's going to be
each side, yeah. So
that's with a piece on the top and the bottom
twice,
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so what you've got here is the components of the boomerang all laid up, all laid out. That is a boomerang. That's not a component, but shows how they all fit together. So you've got carbon mat, carbon unitape, diagonal glass, balsa and weights for each surface. Well, you've got that for each. That's one surface of one wing. Then you've got the centre core, which is the balsa and the weights. Then you've got the next surface, again working from the outside in. You've got the label, and then you've got the same all over on the other side. Okay, so we've got all our materials out to the shed. The mould's been painted and that's going tacky. Adam's mixing up now the second load of resin. Okay, we've got the resin mixed up now. This is just the label. So when you peel the frisk off, you just line them up so they can see exactly their mirror images. Yeah. So you end up with mirror images, one for one surface of the boomerang, one for the other, for both arms. Okay, what you can hear that noise in the background is the extractor fans. I'm going to lay the carbon into the mould. You will really only get one shot at this. You can't really see it, but the frisk is still on the surface, it's uppermost. It's been peeled off on the back surface. The surface is downmost is now covered in resin, and that goes into the mould. And then peel the frisk off there as well. Because there's going to be another layer of carbon, there's quite an overlap here, so that needs painting again to make sure the two layers really bond together. With the same wing on the other surface of the mould now. So now we're doing the other arms, top and bottom. And of course, don't forget to peel the frisk off, because if you leave the frisk on, the whole thing will completely delaminate and fall apart. Have you done that before, Martin? I've never done that one. I'm just saying to Adam actually, the number of gaffes you can make, there's so many little stages to get right, that if you are considering this as something you want to do yourself, don't give up after your first 7 or 8 failures. Keep going and you might actually get one right in the end. There's so many little things.
Is it running?
Yeah.
So probably our most memorable mistake that me and Martin made was back in the early days, so probably first year, working together on a boomerang, which we'd done perfectly. It was an MTA, I still remember. Everything was perfect. We put in the resin, clamped it all together at the end. The following day when we came to separate it out, we discovered we would use water instead of resin. Not a good idea. Obviously that was another failure.
Well, that was my fault for having pots of substances not labelled up. Painting over the inside of the surface now of the carbon, so that's the carbon matte top and bottom. Next thing we're going to do is lay up the glass and the unitape. Unitape's next.
Okay, so what we're going to do now is, because we're running out of battery on this for a little while, we're just going to wet out the remaining pieces of carbon and the uni carbon and then the fiberglass. So we never place it in dry. So wet it out, so that's all we're doing here. And then we'll get the whole lot put together. We're probably about 10 minutes away from completion of the boomerang now. So next into the boomerang goes the carbon spars. So here's Martin just placing them in. So there, still easy, just line them up into the middle, fairly rough. So these are going to give the boomerang extra strength. We've tried making them without the spars, no good, especially on MTAs.
Well, these don't overlap much, but we've got a double layer of mat on the elbow. I don't know if you can hear that.
So next on top of the carbon spars goes the fiberglass spars. So Martin's just popping those in now.
And these have got a little bit of tape on the edge.
A bit of tape on the edge helps cutting it as well, so just trim that off, don't need that.
And at this end as well.